Hi from me, Romy Stach, and welcome to Derech Eretz, the way of the world. In today's show, Rabbi Dovid Wineberg explores the concept of science within Judaism. We celebrate Professor Barry Schoub's lifetime commitment to the research of communicable diseases and spend time with the award-winning non-profit organization Ort South Africa. One of the most influential Jewish thinkers of the Middle Ages, Moses Maimonides, or the Rambam, says that science is one of the roots to the love and fear of God. Science and religion are often seen as being competing sources of truth and authority, so that they appear to always be in conflict. But if religion is seen as the why of the world and science as the how, then perhaps science and religion can be brought together as a complement to each other to improve people's understanding of society and the world at large. Rabbi Dovid Wineberg elaborates further.
The Bible is the best-selling book of all time. These 5 books of Moses, known in the original as the Torah, are life's book of why. They're to explain to us and guide us in life's purpose. The Torah is not a book of how. That is science. That is the world of the scientific. To look at matter, to look at that which is in front of us, and to deconstruct it, to understand how. But the Torah seeks to explain the why. And for this reason, my mentor and teacher, the great Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, himself a graduate student of Germany and French universities, would always insist that there was no contradiction between the Torah, the book of why, and science, which is essentially the book of how. Science is an important part of life, and although the rationalistic mind that applies itself to science might wonder about the faith and the belief that is needed to engage the Torah, in fact, part of life's purpose is to look around us and to see the science within everything. The how. One could argue that this is in fact Derech Eretz, respect for the environment which God put us in, the world which we inhabit. Understanding it leads us to a greater appreciation of the world which God created. Understanding it leads to a greater appreciation of the possibilities, of the remedies that it holds within it. Understanding it allows us to be people of Derech Eretz, respect, sensitive to the things around us, the universe, and the people around us. A great rabbi was once asked by a scientist, should I go and study and investigate life on other planets? Would this be contrary to the Torah? This rabbi answered that in fact it would not. He encouraged him to continue. He was working for NASA. Continue in this pursuit of understanding the universe, of seeking life and life sources elsewhere, because in it we are able to develop a greater appreciation of the world and its sophisticated construct, giving us and allowing us a deeper appreciation of its creator. It would be Derech Eretz, respect, to understand that which is around us, and it would be the opposite. One of the worst possible human character traits, kfuyei tov, to be ungrateful, to reject the goodness which we have been given, to ignore the beauty of this world, to ignore the layers, would be to be ungrateful to God who provided us with this world. So the man of faith and the man of science will both look at a sunset. The man of science might perceive and see light as it refracts and creates different colors. The man of faith might see the beauty of the artist, the creator. Who's right? They're both right. By bringing the why and purpose of life with an appreciation for the how of creation, one lives the Torah value of Derech Eretz, respect.
Derech Eretz. Derech Eretz.
Professor Barry Schoub has dedicated his working life to the field of virology. Barry's vision led to the creation of the National Institute of Communicable Diseases, or NICD, a national body dealing with all major infectious diseases. His work shows his commitment to public health and specifically the field of vaccinations. In 2012, Barry received the Order of Mapungubwe, one of our country's highest honors, giving recognition to his invaluable contribution to the fight against infectious diseases. Barry has made an impact on the people of South Africa and the international community at large.
Virology is one of the specializations of medicine, which is a scientific discipline as well as a health-related discipline. So my first doctorate was in medicine. I specialized first with a master's degree after undergraduate, and then did an MD, a Doctor of Medicine, in virology. And then I practiced in virology for a while, not in the private sector, the public sector, of course, in the academic sector. And then after a while I decided to do a DSc as well, a Doctor of Science, which really is a collection of scientific publications put together, and that gets you, it's a senior doctorate in science.
I think he had great vision. He was instrumental in the development of the National Institute for Communicable Diseases, which was kind of the start of the Public Health Institute for South Africa, putting together his own institute, National Institute for Virology, and the South African Institute for Medical Research's reference units, to bring them together and form a public health institute, or the start of one for South Africa.
The public service was really where I found a home, because I've actually never ever in my entire career been in the private sector. I've always been in the public sector. And the public sector is where one can expand one's research interests, presentation at conferences, teaching to undergraduate and postgraduate students. And I think that's where my interest lay in my career. We started researching in the mid-1980s in this country. And at that stage, in fact, HIV/AIDS was almost unknown in this country. The only cases that we did pick up were those in white gay males. Nothing in the African population. And the African population really started in 1991, 92. Then it took off very, very rapidly. And then I became the director of the first HIV/AIDS research unit in South Africa, which was sponsored by the Medical Research Council. So at that stage, we were really looking just at the prevalence of HIV/AIDS. It wasn't the more deep science that we're doing now. Now in fact, the largest unit at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases is the HIV/AIDS unit. In those days, it was very small. We just had the diagnostic tests, and we just were looking for it.
It's a very difficult time for a director of a virology institute, where the government of the day and even the health minister were putting out these really outlandish, very destructive myths, really, and pseudoscience about, what HIV was about. And Barry, in an institute which is funded by and under the Department of Health, was in a very difficult position. And he really had to stand his ground and be true to what he knew and what he felt. And I think he did. But he weathered the storm, and he had a very good relationship with many of the people in the Ministry of Health, and they respected him. So I think overwhelmingly people respected Barry and his opinions, his science, and him as a person.
I think one of the most important character traits in developing this kind of field is the willingness to learn, to have the humility that somebody can teach you something, that you don't know it all, and to have a receptive mind that will absorb what is being taught, primarily by individuals, and secondarily by what's being published or what comes on the computer and so forth. So I think it's establishing relationships with people that have the experience, that have been there, and that can teach you something.
I think Barry was very true to what he believed, and he would not move away from that. He was a man of, he was very religious. He was highly respected in the community. He treated people well in the workplace. He respected them. He tried to find a middle path. So I think he was a mensch in every sense, and someone who made a great contribution work-wise to his community, but still was very close to his family, his religion, and a very special person.
I am an observant Shomrei Shabbos, Shomrei Mitzvah Jew. So there is a challenge in the scientific realm and religion. So much so that in fact most of senior scientists are not religious. Many of them are atheists. And science does superficially pose a challenge to religious faith. So it was a special interest of mine to try and see how science and scientific truth and the whole environment of science can in fact not only be acceptable to religious faith, but in fact augment religious faith and strengthen religious faith. If you look at science and what science teaches us, it teaches us the physical dimensions of the world. Religion teaches us the spiritual dimensions. And I think when one takes what's written in the scriptural texts on a literal basis, and only on a literal basis, without the commentaries, without the understanding, without the background, without the philosophy, one can superficially see clashes. The creation of the world in 6 days, the sequence of events in the creation, fitting all the animals in Noah's Ark, etc., 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 etc. Many, many kind of things like that. But I think if one kind of looks at the commentaries on those scripts, one can kind of find very profound truths and very profound messages, rather than looking at the very superficial meaning or superficial understanding of those texts. These correlations are maybe fairly new because science itself and contemporary science is relatively modern. So if you look at the more ancient commentaries, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have those kind of wherewithal to kind of do that integration. And yet nevertheless, many of our commentators in the Jewish field, the Rambam, for example, the Ramban, and many, many others, have in fact, even though they didn't have those tools, were still able to very, very skillfully understand that the physical world and the spiritual world are not competing with each other, they're actually augmenting each other. I think what Derech Eretz means is behaving in a way that people can emulate, that you can talk to your Creator and be proud when you meet your Creator, when eventually we all meet our Creator, and kind of look back and saying that our relationship with our fellow man has been one which has been impeccable, which has been one of integrity, of morality, and that one has served one's fellow human being, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish.
Derech Eretz. Derech Eretz.
Ort is an organization that was born out of necessity and has endured and flourished because of its ability to adapt to change. Founded in 1880 in Tsarist Russia out of a need to train up Jewish people for jobs in Eastern Europe, World Ort has now established itself in over 40 countries around the world and serves not only Jews, but the community at large, always remaining cognizant of its mission of empowering people through education.
Ort South Africa started in 1936 as an entity for fundraising. And World Ort took a stand of not working with the government because of apartheid and Bantu education. 1993, 1994, when the shift in government was happening, World Ort brought expertise in the subject of technology. And World Ort worked with government on introducing technology into the curriculum and training teachers in that subject. So from 1993, 1994, when Ort started being operational, it expanded into Gauteng, in Cape Town. Ort Cape operates in Cape Town, and we're also working in KwaZulu-Natal. Our mission is making people employable and creating employment opportunities.
Working at Ort in 2013 as a mathematics facilitator here in Ivory Park. I started in grade 4 and currently I'm in grade 6. However, this is also part of extracurricular activities that we're doing here in Ort, in Ivory Park under Ort BDFest. Each school was free to choose a project of their choice. Actually, they had problems that they wanted to solve. So they thought of of a problem that they wanted to solve, and then they came up with the models. As you could see, all the different models, they were solving different problems in the society through modeling and programming.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ramoni Mapuli.
I'm Tima Matep.
And I'm Logu Anzani. And we are here to present our digital thermometer.
This is our Arduino board, which is our brain. We have connected our black wire on ground level, and on our breadboard we connected it on the negative side. And this red wire stands for positive. On our Arduino board we have connected it on 5 volts, and on our breadboard we connected it on a positive side. These are our resistors. This resistor contains of 220 kilo ohms, and this resistor contains of 10 kilo ohms. This is our thermistor. When we touch it, the temperature will show on the screen, and will show that your temperature is normal or not.
The Ort math model, which was made possible initially by the sponsorship from Bidvest, started in 2007. And the model was a very unique model where we did teacher training that was based on assessment and gaps that we analyzed in the teacher's knowledge and skills, and together with classroom-based support and coaching, and together with provision of resources. Because we thought that any model that we'll bring in has to be adjusted to the schools that we work with, and we've had an opportunity to work with the teachers, go into the schools and find out exactly what the needs are, and that's how that model was developed. Research showed, especially with girls, that when you expose them to STEM, to science, technology, engineering, math, to coding language and programming from an early stage, you are more likely to get them choosing that as careers. And the problem in the township is that the chosen careers are around the things that they know. If you ask them what they want to become, I want to be a policeman, a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. The IT is very distant for them. And this is why it's so important to expose those children, and you saw that they've got the capabilities to that, to expose them to what a computer is, and to expose them to coding and to the computing language from that early stage. So when they have the opportunity to choose career, that could be one of them. Because in the future jobs, it doesn't matter, even if you don't want to be a programmer, you will still need to have some knowledge in computing for whatever job career you will choose. This is how we need to teach not only the computing language, because with robotics and computing, you teach children life skills. You teach them how to work in team, how to be disciplined, how to work in collaboration with other team members. So that is beyond even the computing language. It brings in a lot of aspects of 21st century skills together.
This is our model, which is a security system. The components that we used are photoresistor. Photoresistor senses the amount of light. Photoresistor make LED to produce light when it's dark and during the day to switch off. Motion sensor. Motion sensor senses movement of objects such as animals, cars, and people. Server motor opens the gate and closes the gate. Arduino Uno. Arduino Uno works like our brain. It has memory.
And the reason for us to connect our Arduino Uno to the laptop was for the output energies to produce what we wanted them to produce, and also to upload the coding to the memory. The alarm is ringing now, and the securities will come to check the person. If the person is an intruder, then they will switch it off to stop the noise. And our school will be protected from burglary.
I am extremely pleased with what the learners are doing, and it's one of my dreams to see these learners realizing whatever they want to see in the society using the skills of coding, because they are also applying their science, mathematics knowledge when they are working with this. Because for them to choose the right resistor, they are using calculations. So there is a lot of mathematics, there is a lot of science, because they need to know the electricity for the connections, they need to know science in general, and nature in general, and also the rules in the country on how certain things apply in the society.
This project has expanded to Ivory Park and other areas in Gauteng and in KwaZulu-Natal, where we used that successful model and implemented it, where we take the entry levels of grade 1, grade 4, and grade 8, and we take the cohort and go with them. So it's a long-term project. It's not a once-off project. And that long-term relationship that we have with the Department of Education and funders allow us to make the impact, to see the high performance of learners in the ANA, but also high performance of learners in the teaching, in the classroom, in the books, in the workbooks, when we examine them.
Ort definitely has a Derech Eretz, and I think throughout the world, Ort has a Derech Eretz, and that is educating for life. And that is how we think. And Ort's motto and slogan is, if you teach somebody at an early age or any time, it's for life. And that's why we have long-term projects. We like to see that people have gained through what we've taught them and what the projects that we've run, and that this will stand them in good stead to become self-sufficient. In the end, that's what we want. We want to improve the education system in the country. We want to improve people's livelihoods and make them self-sufficient.
Science is about creating hypotheses and testing data against theories. Judaism is about how we act to improve this world here and now. As we have seen in today's show, these two can easily go hand in hand. We would love for you to join our conversation, so share your thoughts and stories on our Facebook page, Derech Eretz Connect. From me, Romy Stach, and the Derech Eretz team, we wish you an inspired and productive week ahead.